Next single image edit that we're going to learn is called the dodge and the burn tools. So those are on top of each other on your toolbar. It's about halfway through, depending on which one's on top. The dodge tool looks to me like a lollipop, and then the burn tool looks like a hand, um, making like a little hole or something. So they each do the same thing, but the opposite of the same thing. So I'm going to start with the dodge tool, and I don't want to work on the background because if I decide later that I don't like what I did or if I want to change it, I don't want to damage that. So I'm going to make a duplicate layer from the background. So I'm just going to duplicate that layer, and I did that by right clicking on the layer. And I'm just going to make a background copy. That way, if I delete it, it doesn't harm anything. I'm fine. I also want to make sure up here that I'm on a soft brush. If it's hard, you're going to see those lines show up. We want a nice soft brush. I'm going to keep it at 0, and then I don't want something huge. But if you do, you can either change it up here to change the pixel size of your brush, or the two keys next to the letter P make your brush, oops, smaller or larger. Oops, it's gonna get mad at me right there. Yeah, so I'm gonna use that, and basically what it does is, you can see right here, so the dodge tool takes away some of that darkness. But the key is that you can see right here that I dodged, and you can see it, and that looks awful. So I'm gonna get rid of that, and then I'm gonna experiment with the different exposures here. I'm gonna make my brush bigger because I think that'll help reduce the streakiness. And I'm just gonna lighten up this shadow over here just a little bit. And then if you want to compare, you can also turn the layer on or off just to see what that did. And ooh, there's this really terrible streak right there, right down the middle, that I somehow did. So again, if I don't like that, it's like that's a mistake. I can either go back into my history, and I can start over, or I can just delete that layer, which is what I did in my history. So I can delete that layer and then go back into my my duplicate, and then I can do it again just to lighten up this area just a tiny little bit. And then of course the burn tool is exactly the opposite. So you can see the range change to highlights. So what that does is that the really bright areas, it makes them a little bit darker. So again, here, that window, like that white is super white. So if I wanted to, I could just burn it in just to bring that white area down, because I was kind of afraid that I was missing some of the detail in that window. Now, I have to admit, I don't think that the burn and the dodge works well for this photo. I happen to like it without, but it's good to experiment and just to test it out again on the photo, because some photos definitely need it and some don't. I don't think this one does, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer and continue on with my edits. But I didn't know that it wasn't going to really affect the picture that much until I started working on it. So it's always a good thing to start experimenting with instead of just skipping right over it.